got so much to say. I just can't seem to say it.
So I'll tell you, the things they want to talk about, the things I want to talk about are kind of crazy. It's stupid stuff in Jeff's head for 200, Alex. What are we talking about, Geoff?
Dang.
Hey guys, Geoff Landon here at Doll Media Studios. How you doing? Now, this is what I'm going to riff on if you didn't notice that. This is Geoff Landon, host and musician. It's kind of a new show we're doing out here at Doll Media, and I've just been like, I've got to say something out loud. And that's kind of what this show is all about, okay? So it's the idea is, what are we talking about, Geoff? Because sometimes I go off in some weird tangents. So the main thing I wanted to talk about today, and I guess it's kind of weird that I'm going to start off with a political agenda. I'm kidding. A political agenda is not really the idea, but the idea of spin. Now, we see this all the time, right? Especially in the music world, we see spin all the time where it's either one, choices made by an artist, or two, the idea that you missed a gig or something and you spin what it works for, or you spin talent to show strength, right? You're selling yourself. And the hard part for me is if we look at the president, why are you still selling yourself? Well, because your ratings are low, right? I get that. But you're selling so hard on this idea that you've changed the economy. Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to get it on here for you, and we'll take a look, and I'll be hiding behind it too, all right? So as I look at this is what it's going to look like, okay? So it says right here, as you can see, Biden a couple days ago says, as of this month, we've created 12 million new jobs, the strongest 2 years of growth in history by a long shot, with 3.4% unemployment. The last time unemployment was this low was in 1969. And the hard part for me on seeing that, guys, what makes that really hard for me to even look at, it gets me every time I see that. We all know, and I could be wrong in this, okay? We all know that full employment, if you've been in an AP economics course, which I was in high school, I took macroeconomics. I knew the wider angle of economics, where it's the 12 different things that tell you where the economy is going to be in 6 months, those kind of things. Just if you back up and look at the whole thing, you can kind of see where the river is flowing, right? And the hard part for me is I remember learning that full employment was 3.7%. So this is why he's happy, right? He's really happy that we're beating full employment. That number will impress an economist. But I want to hit the brakes. This is what I'm riffing about, you guys. If you hit the brakes on this and think about it, he's saying that everybody's working. What, 3.4%? I learned this when I moved down to Appleton. When I was down in Appleton, I ended up in a homeless shelter. As a musician, some things just don't work out in the beginning of your career. But I ended up in a homeless shelter after I got really sick, right? In that homeless shelter, I got in touch with the Salvation Army, and I got in touch with the Marine Corps, and they helped me get first month's rent. Well, the newspaper heard of this, the Post-Crescent heard this, and decided, we want to put you in the newspaper. We're doing different walks of life. You're the homeless musician. We've got a family over here who's moved down here because the husband took a job already. And what it was is they had the same. They had 3.4% unemployment, which meant there's more jobs than people. So you're here, right? But that means people can migrate to it, right? So just the Fox Valley had 3.4% unemployment. Now, they came along with me. I got a job that day. Newspaper photographer came along with me, did an article, the whole 9 yards. And it was kind of cool. Like, I was 18, had no idea. And not that it ever really boosted my music career, but I thought it was interesting to learn to be a part of that. It was amazing. Fox Valley was growing like crazy, and things were awesome. And I was caught right in the middle of it when it came to media and everything like that. And it was quite the excitement. And, since then, and we're talking 30 years, since then, it's been still very progressive in growth. I understand with the economy between '08 and now have kind of steadied things off, but really that airport's gotten way bigger, right? And I'm sure they're dealing with the homeless issue in a different way too, right? So, all that being said, that was an amazing thing. They noticed people were flocking to there, saying there was more jobs than workers. Now, I put a post out there the other day saying on LinkedIn of all places, right? And if I can get that for you, I put on LinkedIn, I want to tell you this word for word. Okay, so I'm going to read it off for you. I might even show you in the camera here. But one of the things that got me, and I just thought it was a little interesting, and I'm going to read this comment too, but I put out there, I don't know if you guys can see that right there. Is it me, or does the news about 3.4% unemployment seem skewed? Right? And so Leonard Lutz jumped in, good friend of mine. It's possible that the number, probably the percent of the available workforce that is actually collecting unemployment benefits. Since the pandemic, many workers' benefits have expired, but they got accustomed to not working. Well, you see, and that's what I mean. If that's true, they're still in the workforce. And so for me, that says there's still workers out there in the workforce that aren't working. And whether they're collecting unemployment benefits, are they leaving them out of that list? Because that would be skewed, right? So my other thought is this: skewed numbers in this sense. I'm a musician. Technically, I'm in the workforce. I'm self-employed, right? And I've set taxes up as a self-employed on my Social Security number. So, but technically, I'm just doing music, right? I'm not necessarily building a pipeline. I'm not working at a mill. I'm not building your car. I'm not building your furniture. Are you catching my drift here? Are we getting close? I hope we're getting close, because if you think about this, they want to hit the self-employment people right off the bat. I've noticed that we're paying a self-employment tax now this year. It's a little different, right? And they reshaped that. It's funny because, if I'm not mistaken, does that mean more people are going self-employed, so they're not able to claim income taxes on people who aren't working a regular job? So when you go self-employed as a non-compensated non-compensated worker, or you're not an employee, right? You're compensated in other ways. They're not getting taxes on that. So then they put a tax on the self-employed, because what they notice is everybody's becoming YouTubers, Door Dashers. They're becoming social creators, right? Like me now. And they're getting paid for it. But because they're self-employed, they put it under a different tax. And in order to do that, you keep your books, you work your butt off to square stuff away, and most of the time you make enough to stay afloat. And some of the great YouTubers have gone up, but they've been around 15 years. It's kind of like the music business, guys. You could be a musician 10, 12 years right in the face of it all, and then finally get your record deal. And it's kind of the same way with the YouTubers, is there's a few people have become sensations, but really they've stayed consistent for 5, 6, 10, now 15 years to get where they are, right? So it's no different than becoming a musician or any kind of entertainer in that fact. But what we're running into now is more people in the last 2 to 3 years have now become Door Dashers because of the way people stay home. And they're self-employed, and the way they claim their taxes says they're employed. But who's filling the burger flipping job? Who's filling the factory jobs? Who's filling the welding jobs that I hear commercials about all the time on the radio? See, it's shifted. They say they've created millions of jobs, right? So there's more jobs than people. The problem is most of those jobs are either self-employed or they're created through companies where people are not doing the direct technical things that drive this country. So the thing is there's more people relying on people to do things for them. But who's making the stuff? Well, now we're relying on computers to do most of it, right? We're in manufacturing, cars are being built by more control arms and all that stuff, and welders and things like that. But more people are selling products on Facebook. More people are selling stuff on eBay. More people are selling stuff from China by sitting on their butt through eBay and Amazon and all these places. They created their own stores and are selling products that China is making. So now you have people just selling stuff. Nobody's actually working. They're actually making somebody else in another country put it all together, drop it off over here, and then we get mad because it's made in another country and it's crap. But yet, none of us want to use our hands to build it. So what we've run into is a president who claims that he's created all these jobs. The problem is he's created a whole bunch more jobs and nobody's taken them because we're not in that kind of market. And we're not trying to incentivize people to go after working a trade. As much as we say it, college debt should be forcing you to a tech school. I've got the ability to send my kids to a tech school, a state school, or a local tech school right here because of the military benefits I was given, which is amazing, right? And I'm literally at that point right now to go, do I want my kid going to a big state school trying to hit it big in poli-sci, right? My son wants to be a mechanic. My son says to me, Dad, that's what I'm going to be. I'm either going to be a long haul hauler or a mechanic. And I was just kind of like, oh man, son, you don't want to do that. But then in my head, I'm going, well, learn electronics, kid, because they're trying to force you out of working on an engine. And everything that we see is working on an engine. Any video game you buy, simulator games and stuff like that, you could build up an engine. Not many electrical cars in those games, but there's plenty of gun shooting in those games. That's for another story. But that's what I'm riffing about. And this is what we were talking about. The idea that the skewed number of 3.4% unemployment, let's get real. Start using your hands to build. I build music with my hands. I go out and I play it. And so does a lot of other musicians out there too. We still blue collar our job. As much as we want to sit there and have some fun, you know what we're seeing now? DJs with computers, right? Past decade now, Goyetta. Heck, we even lost one already. We even lost a DJ to suicide after making hits on a computer. They have an ear. But when another country's making all your stuff, don't complain. But I can tell you right now, that number, as far as full employment and a great economy right now, they're using a number that looks really hot. But what really matters is that people aren't taking the jobs that nobody wants to do, which has changed who we are as an American society. That's one of them. I think you get it. That's me. I don't know. Next time, right? Until next time, this is the first episode of What Are We Talking About, Geoff?
Dang. That's kind of it.